All right, let's unpack something truly wild today. Uh, what if your entire existence wasn't just, lived, but meticulously, outrageously designed? Like, as a work of art.
Sounds pretty incredible, doesn't it?
It really does. And today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that with Marchesa Luisa Casati.
Right.
We're using some fantastic material you've brought together for us.
She's an absolutely fascinating figure.
So, born Luisa Amon in Milan, 1881, a wealthy heiress, but get this, she and her sister were orphaned as teenagers and became like the wealthiest women in Italy. Just
It's
astonishing.
an unbelievable start, yeah.
And our mission here, it isn't just a biography, right? We want to explore how she consciously went after artistic immortality, how she literally transformed herself into the Divine Marchesa. We're going to try and uncover how she might have become the most artistically represented woman ever, maybe after the Virgin Mary and Cleopatra. It's a story of, well, audacious self-creation and defiance, really.
And what's truly fascinating, I think, is how her own ambition just perfectly intersected with this huge moment in history. Her life spans the Belle Epoque, that beautiful era before World War I.
Right. Peace and prosperity, lots of change in the air.
Exactly. And then the revolutionary shifts of the early 20th century. So her immense wealth, combined with these seismic social changes, it gave her this unique platform.
Whole launch pad.
Totally. She really redefined what was possible for a woman, especially, an aristocratic woman, in public life. She used the times, leveraged them to become something entirely new, not just a product of them.
And what a start she had, born into this industrial aristocracy, her father's cotton fortune. So she had this completely unprecedented financial independence.
Just think about that. A woman back then with that kind of cash, her own cash.
Entirely at her disposal. Then she marries Camillo Casati Stampa di Sontino, that's where the title comes from, the Marchesa.
The aristocratic connection.
But even with that title, she didn't just sort of settle into the expected role, did she?
Not even close.
What really set her apart was how she used that independence. I mean, in 1903, she makes this really radical break. She explicitly abandons the quiet life expected of an aristocratic wife. Yeah. This wasn't just like drifting into extravagance. It feels like a very deliberate, almost provocative choice to forge her own path.
It absolutely was.
So was that just personal rebellion, do you think? Or was something bigger shifting in society that, allowed a woman to make such a public defiant statement?
Well, that's the crucial question, isn't it? It was definitely her powerful force of will. I mean, you can't deny that. But it also vividly reflects the cracks that were appearing in those really rigid 19th century social structures.
Things were loosening up a bit.
A bit, yeah. Wealthy women were starting to find new ways to express themselves, new avenues, and Casati just fully exploited this opportunity. Her decision to just cast aside the conventional role of Marchesa with all its expectations, it was such a powerful statement about women's autonomy.
Especially back then.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. At a time when choices like that were incredibly rare, often scandalous, even condemned. She basically showed what could happen when financial freedom met this totally unyielding personal vision. She really pushed the boundaries for women in public life.
So moving on to her patronage of the arts, it sounds like it was, well, more than just writing checks. Was she almost like using these artists to build her own legacy, her own immortality?
You've hit it exactly. Her only requirement, apparently, was a daringness of vision, capable of transforming their muse in constantly new ways.
Wow.
So yeah, this wasn't charity, not at all. It was a meticulously planned, strategic quest for enduring fame. Her real genius wasn't just what she commissioned, but how strategically she went about it.
And she really did become this magnet for talent, didn't she?
Mm.
Working with all the big names of the era.
Oh, everyone. Renowned portraitists like Giovanni Boldini, Augustus John.
Keys Van Doren, Romaine Brooks.
Right, sculptors like Giacomo Balla, Jacob Epstein, even pioneering fashion designers, Paul Poiret, Mariano Fortuny, big names.
And she supported the futurists, too. That seems like a perfect fit, somehow. That avant-garde movement celebrating speed, technology, breaking from tradition.
Absolutely, a perfect match for her own defiant spirit. And she was even, famously, Man Ray's favorite model.
Yeah, that's incredible. But she didn't just pose passively, right? The material says she actively participated.
Exactly. She provided costumes, props, concepts. She turned these sittings into, theatrical events.
Making herself the star of her own artistic universe. But I wonder, was there a risk in all that? Did her, true self get lost in the performance?
That's a really interesting thought. And, well, perhaps. But maybe for Casati, the performance was her true self. I mean, if you look at the bigger picture, her strategy was incredibly sophisticated.
Oh, so.
Well, she wasn't just betting on one art movement or one style. She was hedging her bets across all of them. Established masters, the avant-garde.
Right, covering all bases.
Exactly. It's like investing in every single emerging tech startup and the established giants just to make absolutely sure your legacy gets captured, no matter which trend ultimately wins out.
That's actually a brilliant way to think about engineering your own immortality.
Isn't it? She saw herself not just as the subject, but as a co-creator, a collaborator in her own artistic representation. And that blurring of lines between patron and artist, and creator, that was truly revolutionary for the time.
So for over a decade, roughly 1910 to 1924, she finds her grandest stage in Venice. She lived at the Palazzo Venier de Leone, right there on the Grand Canal. And she transformed it into this place of magic with a legendary aura.
It's still legendary.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, that this same palazzo later became Peggy Guggenheim's home. Two incredible boundary-pushing patronesses in the same space.
Incredible connection, yeah. The history in those walls.
And her parties there, her soirees, they weren't just parties. They were carefully orchestrated theatrical events, gathering artists, writers like Jean Cocteau, musicians, socialites from all over Europe.
Casati absolutely understood the power of setting, of spectacle. Venice became her personal stage. And the choice of Venice itself was perfect, wasn't it? Symbolically, practically.
How do you mean?
Well, it's a city where fantasy and reality just naturally blur, where elaborate costume, dramatic gestures, they're almost part of the fabric of the place.
True.
And the palazzo itself, the Venier de Leone, it's famously unfinished. It stands today, pretty much as it was then. It's like this powerful metaphor for the era's own transformations, its interrupted traditions.
I never thought of it that way.
And she didn't just host events, she curated this entire environment. The stories are incredible, her menagerie of exotic animals.
The boa constrictors, the white peacocks.
Right. These weren't just pets. They were living props in her daily performance art, enhancing the theatricality, the sheer strangeness of her life.
Okay, wait. So the story goes, if her jewelry box didn't have the right piece for an outfit, she'd just, what? Wrap a snake around her neck?
Pretty much. Or have her servants dye her white peacocks different colors to match her theme, or just let them wander through her salons as living decoration.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And brilliant. What on earth did people think?
Well, precisely. That was the point. This wasn't just being eccentric for the sake of it. It was her core philosophy. Life itself should be transformed into art.
Okay.
And her extreme choices, they also tapped into the period's fascination with primitivism and the exotic, that whole artistic movement looking towards non-Western, pre-industrial cultures for inspiration, embracing the wild, the unconventional.
So people reacted with shock, awe.
Shock, awe, gossip, fascination. But always, always attention. She knew exactly how to leverage her image. She became Europe's most notorious celebrity for, like, the first half of the 20th century.
Wow, Europe's most notorious.
Arguably, yes. And her strategic use of shocking behavior just to keep the public eye on her, understanding that controversy could be just as valuable as admiration. I mean, she really anticipated so many aspects of modern celebrity culture.
She was basically crafting her brand before personal branding was even a thing.
Exactly. A master of the public persona, decades ahead of her time.
And then there's her relationship with Gabriele D'Annunzio, this profound, enduring lifetime affair she had with the prominent Italian writer.
A huge figure in her life.
Clearly, it was this intense intellectual and passionate connection, something her conventional marriage completely lacked. And he gave her these incredible nicknames, the Divine, Mona Lisa, Domina, and crucially, Corée, the goddess of the underworld.
Corée, yes. That one stuck.
Apparently, he was still calling her Corée in 1930, years after their most intense period.
Yeah.
Which just shows the lasting impact she had on him, right?
Absolutely. And his fascination, it even prompted a physical transformation in her. That's when she started wearing only black Venetian lace, emphasizing her slim figure, cut and dyed her hair that famous auburn, really emphasized her eyes with the dark kohl makeup.
Becoming the image we often see in paintings.
Precisely. But their relationship, it was really more than just romance. It was an intellectual and aesthetic partnership. D'Annunzio's own philosophy, transforming life into art, it meshed perfectly with Casati's own life project.
Two massive egos sort of fueling each other.
You could say that. Two magnificent egos, definitely aligned in their artistic ambitions. Now, D'Annunzio did draw heavily on Casati for inspiration in his writing, capturing her unique essence.
Right, he put her in his novels.
Well, this is where it gets a little nuanced, according to scholars. While people often say she was the main inspiration for Isabella Ingirami in his 1910 novel, Forse che sì, forse che no, the primary inspiration for that specific character seems to have actually been another lover of his, Giuseppina Mancini. D'Annunzio, like many writers, often blended traits from different people in his life.
Ah, okay, so maybe not a direct one-to-one mapping.
Probably not strictly one-to-one for Isabella, but the key takeaway is still that their intellectual and aesthetic partnership was incredibly powerful, and she certainly fueled his imagination just as he fueled hers. It propelled both their visions of transforming life into art.
And she actually visited his famous estate, Il Vittoriale, on Lake Garda.
Yes, she was an intimate visitor,
Wow.
spent Christmas 1923 there and other periods in 1924 while he was still building and designing it all. He called her La Nomade, the nomad, during one visit.
The nomad. That fits her restless spirit.
It really does. And think about the symbolism of that. Her, this living artwork, visiting D'Annunzio while he's literally constructing his own massive physical monument to his life and art. It's this amazing intersection of two supreme examples of aesthetic self-creation.
Poet building his monument, Marchesa already being one.
Okay.
So Luisa Casati died in 1957. She was 76. And by all accounts, she really did it. She achieved that artistic immortality she was aiming for.
She certainly did. The evidence is undeniable.
You can still see her image, her unique look, in major art museums and galleries all over the world today. It really proves her dominance as a significant muse in the history of 20th century art.
Absolutely. She's inescapable if you study the art of that period.
And her influence keeps going, even into modern fashion. There's the Marchesa fashion house named after her. Karl Lagerfeld used her as a major inspiration for a Chanel Cruise collection back in 2010.
She keeps popping up. Her image is just that powerful.
There's that quote from Augustus John, the painter. He claims she should be shot, stuffed, and displayed in a glass case.
Which sounds awful.
It sounds dismissive, maybe even cruel, right?
Yeah.
But actually, it kind of acknowledges her success, doesn't it?
Yeah.
She had transformed herself into this living artwork, this spectacle.
That's a really sharp way to look at it. It's a backhanded compliment, maybe, but it confirms she achieved exactly what she set out to do. And her influence, it really goes beyond just art and fashion. It touches on these broader ideas.
Like what?
Well, concepts of celebrity, self-presentation, the whole relationship between immense wealth and cultural influence, her strategies,
Yeah.
Maintaining public attention, generating controversy, using patronage for personal glory.
Playbook.
It became a template, a blueprint for later cultural figures, for celebrities. In essence, Casati wasn't just like a product of her era. She actively shaped the future of what a public persona could be. She showed how to construct an image that lasts.
So what does this all mean for us, thinking about her now? We've journeyed through Luisa Casati's incredible transformation from this super wealthy heiress to the Divine Marchesa, a woman who literally lived her life as a deliberate, often outrageous work of art. She defied convention. She shaped culture. Her story really shines a light on how individual vision, especially when it hits the right historical moment, can create this massive, lasting impact.
It really does.
It makes you consider, I think, the sheer power of self-definition.
Yeah.
And, well, the enduring allure of living life completely on your own terms, no matter how strange it looks to others.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, Casati's legacy isn't just about art history or fashion footnotes. It taps into something deeper, doesn't it? That profound human desire for meaning, for impact, for creating something lasting out of your own life.
Self-creation as a path to immortality.
Exactly. So it leaves us with a question, maybe. What does it truly mean to transform your life into a deliberate, enduring work of art? In our world now, which is so focused on personal branding, curated online identities, how do we, in our own ways, consciously shape the stories we tell about ourselves?
What kind of immortality are we seeking?
Precisely. What kind of immortality do you seek through your own choices, your creations, the persona you present to the world? It's a question Casati answered with every single outrageous, beautiful, and ultimately unforgettable step she took. It's something to definitely think about.